We've been considering the ways that we can be guided into God's will by His Word or by the counsel of others, but sometimes we are guided by circumstances. Good morning. This is Pastor Ernie Lewis of the Blue Point Church in Sisney, Illinois, with your thoughts for Friday. You know, we often don't know where life is going to take us on this journey here below, but we do realize that a sovereign God is working to guide our lives. And the Bible says in Romans 8 and verse 28, and we know that all things work together for good to those who love the Lord, to those who are the called according to His purpose. Sometimes we're guided by the things that just seem to happen around us. Now, how in the world would Paul and Silas end up in the home of a Philippian jailer, eating a meal and rejoicing over their family's recent salvation? Well, it started out with this Macedonian vision that led them to Philippi, and then that angry mob that had them beaten and imprisoned, and then that earthquake that actually awakened the Philippian jailer to his greatest need. Many times we see that God is guiding and directing our lives when we really don't see it at all. Poor Joseph is an Old Testament character whose life was guided by circumstances. We know that he was the favorite son of Jacob. He had dreams of grandeur, but then, of course, he was sold into slavery by his brothers. He was imprisoned in Egypt on false accusations. He was forgotten by those he had helped in prison. And finally, he was raised to a powerful position in the Egyptian government. When his brothers found out, they wept in their sorrow over their actions. But he said to them, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, in order to bring about all that this has happened, to save many people alive." Joseph's whole life was led by God through the circumstances in his path. Now, for this direction to come into our life, we must first of all completely place our trust in God to know that He knows what He's doing. We may sometimes want to rebel against the circumstances where we've been placed. Paul wrote in the New Testament, he had learned, "In whatsoever state I am in," he said, "therewith to be content." We must be willing to follow God's direction and His work in our lives. You know, we sing that song, "He leadeth me," oh blessed thought, oh words with heavenly comfort fraught. Whate'er I do, where'er I be, still 'tis God's hand that leadeth me. And if we believe those words, we can rest assured that God has got our back. That sometimes the greatest direction we can have to follow God is the set of circumstances in which He has placed us.